welcome back to part 2 of visiting tiny little libraries in our area. We are enjoying a very beautiful spring day and have decided to come out. You might have to pause because people are mowing. That's okay. People are mowing everywhere. Hold on a second. Alright, as I was saying, also it might be just a little bit windy. Sorry, we're outside. We are on our way. I have done a video like this once before where we have gone to different tiny little libraries that are in our area. We went around, we visited different little tiny free libraries. There's actually a website you can go to that all of these little libraries that are registered are actually like mapped out for you, so you can see if there's any in your area if you don't know about them. And that video was really well received and people really enjoyed it and they wanted another one. So here we are doing another one. And today we are starting out by actually visiting a little library that we have already gone to in the last video, but we're hoping to hit up another new one today as well. And currently, oh, hello puppy! Hello puppy! Currently, the books that we have with us are a couple of children's books that we've wanted to kind of just unhaul. Which, I don't know, do people normally frown at leaving like the simple children's books at these libraries? I feel like adults have kind of taken over these libraries of wanting them to not be full of kids' books, but I don't know, maybe kids like looking at these libraries and getting books as well. I don't know, but what we have currently is a handful of kids' books that I'm going to drop a couple off at each of these that we visit. And my mom is coming to visit this week, so hopefully she is bringing some books from her house as well that we will then be able to also go and drop off at other libraries. I would really like to go to Fort Wayne because there's a ton of these little libraries in Fort Wayne and visit a bunch of those that we've not been to either, because I think that would be really fun and just seeing what all there is. So, but we are almost to this first one. Look, there it is right there. Yes, here is this one that we had visited in the last video as well. I would actually be very curious to compare this footage with the last video's footage to see how many of these books have actually rotated stock and how much of this is the same. I think that would be really interesting. Yeah, but here's what we have. Nothing really striking our fancy, but we're gonna go ahead and drop off these two. This little surprise puppy and dogs. So we'll just set those right in there. There you go. And yeah, if you register your little library on the littlefreelibrary.org, you can get one of these plaques so that you know it is one. And then I'm pretty sure there's actually a way that you can go and like go onto the app and mark that you've visited this one so that the people who own the little library can like check and see how many people are visiting and whatnot, which I think is pretty fun. But now we are off to one that is very unique, and as long as Elliot is still in a good mood, we'll head all the way over there and yeah, I'll just show you. It's a really fun little one. Mission successful. Okay, so this little library is not on the little library website, but I actually had to follow this store's Facebook page, and then I saw them post one day about it. The little library used to be inside the building, and then they moved it to be in this cool truck right outside of their building. So you come over, and it says Little Free Library. And look at that, you have to like, open the truck. How cool is that? I love it. I absolutely love that. So here I will give you a scan of what all we got going on in here. There's a lot. There's stuff over there, all the way over there. There's stuff all the way over there. And now I'm gonna enjoy looking. All right, I think I'm actually gonna take this Charlie Brown one because I think that's really fun. So I'm gonna set that over there. And then I'm gonna drop off this fun cat yoga book and then this Wacky Laws book. So let's add those in right there. Fantastic. Ta-da! Grab my Charlie Brown book. I love that. All right, and if you ever happen to come to Columbia City, Indiana, it is right in front of the old general store, right on Main Street. Just hanging out right there. We're now headed to another little free library that I'm pretty sure is still a little free library. I'm not like confident. We've never been this way before. So I actually don't know like for sure. So we're gonna find out together if this is actually a library or if it's just not been updated on the website, because this is one that is listed on the website. Otherwise I wouldn't have had a clue it existed. So. Okay. It is a little free library. I was a little weirded out because it's literally on somebody's front porch. But go ahead and open it up and take a look at what we got. It's very cute. But here is your view of what we got going on. And I'm gonna take a look through. Nothing really striking my fancy, but we are going to drop off these two little books that we had. So I will pop those in there. And then we will close this back up. And call it good. All right, so that is all of the tiny free libraries we are hitting up today. There is one more in town that I know about that I'm pretty sure is there. Again, I've never been there, so I don't know for sure. But again, I didn't discover it because of the tinyfreelibrary.org. I discovered it because of Pokemon Go. And I was playing in my area, and one of the like Pokestops that you can click and spin was for the local Pizza Hut. And when I clicked it, it popped up that it was a tiny free library in front of the Pizza Hut. And I was like, well, that's awesome. So at some point we're gonna have to go visit that, but that is for another day. So for you guys, it will only be but a second. For us, I have no idea how long it will be, but when we are ready to go on another little adventure of finding books, I will join back in with you. All right, we have come out to Fort Wayne to do some running around, and we have come to another little free library because we have a little time to kill. It's a Rotary Club, fancy. So here is your look at what all is going on in here. And the book I'm dropping off is I is for Innocent by Sue Grafton. I like this series a lot, but I actually picked one up from another little free library that was hardcover. So, wait, this might be something we really want. North America Wildlife. Ooh, I might pick this up actually. This is Trees and Non-Flowering Plants. Dan and I are actively working on a vlog to be able to identify more trees and plants that we think are really, really cool. So I might pick this up. That's quite cool. Huh. Well then. And I don't see anything else. Yeah, okay. Well, there is that one. Very fun. On to the next. Oh, interesting. This one actually says children and youth books only. Oh. So maybe I shouldn't drop this one off.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we just stopped at another little library, and this one is at a church, but it's specifically, it says on it, I'll just get out so you can see. It says children and youth books only, and the only two books I had with me that I could have dropped off are the Wicked book and the sequel, and they aren't really youth or children. They're more like young adult level, so I think I might actually just skip dropping anything off at this one. So here's your little look at what all's in here. But I will close that back up. we might look for the next one. All right, we are currently walking around downtown, and Dan, we're taking part in an event that's downtown for the first Friday of the month. And we were just walking around before it starts, and Dan told me that he thinks he knows where a little library is that is not like on like the official like tiny free library website. So we are on our way to go check it out to see if it is in fact a little free library or not. Which also, I went to get ice cream the other day and I found another free library that's not an official one. So we're gonna be hitting that one up after this one, and I'm very excited about it because I have a stroller full of books to drop off at these things. Check that out, it for sure is. Hot dang. Yeah, this is definitely a little library. Oh, there's a good selection in here too. Goodness, do you mind watching Elliot?
I can do that.
All right, well, let's check this bad boy out.
Hello.
Yeah, look at all that, goodness gracious.
Hello.
All right, well, let's,
I'll read you like a book.
there's kind of
Because you are a book.
your view there and stuff in the front. Oh, I didn't realize I was zoomed in so far. I'm sorry.
Ooh,
There
look
you
at that.
go.
One of the Hobbit.
There you go. Cool. All right, let's check all this out. Oh, yeah. Definitely a cool copy of The Hobbit, but we have 2 copies at home, so we're going to leave that here. And Dan is on his way back over so I can grab a book to drop off.
Go.
Wow, thank you. And I will drop off Marie Kondo's Spark Joy. Let's leave that one right in there. Oh. There we go. Get it in there. Perfect. And this one is right next to Rhodes. Very cool. Wait, Lambeau. Good boy, stay.
Whoa. Whoa. Smashing.
Ah, it's difficult to do this one-handed.
You want me to hold it? Emma?
No, I got it.
Okay.
It's just difficult. All right, we are in Huntington right now for I know, baby, it's okay. The library here in town was doing a book sale. And so we walked around and had a massive cart full of books that we bought and only spent like $12. But while we were here, I thought it was worth stopping to check out the tiny free libraries that were along our path. And so we're coming up to one right now. Whoop. Here is this little one. Like that. Very cute. That's really cute. Okay, well, I'm getting that for sure for Elliot. Very fun. So yeah, I think I'm gonna pick this up for Elliot. And then I am dropping off 2 magic tree houses, number 1 and number 2. Because we have an abundance of those that we do not need anymore. Close that. Fantastic. Okay, I thought it would be fun if we ended this video by going through the couple of free library books that I did pick up, which I actually just remember there's one more I have to go grab quick.
Okay.
But then also going through all of the books that we got at the library sale that we went to earlier today. I know they're not tiny free library books, but they are library books that we purchased for very, very cheap. And just consider it like a bonus book haul. So, from the tiny free libraries that we went to the best of my memory, we spanned a decent amount of time visiting all of these throughout this video. But to the best of my memory, these are the only 4 books that we actually picked up. So the first one that we grabbed was this Charles Schulz. It's a mystery Charlie Brown. And, I mean, just classic Peanuts stories with fun illustrations in them. And then when we were in Fort Wayne looking through libraries, we picked up this Trees and Non-Flowering Plants book. And this is something that Dan and I had been interested in, trying to get better at identifying the different trees and just plants in general. And neither of us are fantastic at identifying things just by looking at them. We are getting better, though. We're definitely getting better. But this book is hopefully going to help us get even better. The 2 little libraries that we went to today, I actually got a book at each of them for Elliot. And you saw those a little bit, but it was this little farm book of touch and feel animals. So I've already read this to Elliot, and he especially liked the sheepdogs and how fluffy that was. He thought that was very fun. And then the other one I got was this Sandra Boynton Eek Halloween. If you have kids or you know kids, Sandra Boynton has quickly become a staple, like, book author for children in a lot of households, just because her writing style is very simple, but it's also very fun, and it's fun for the adults to read as well. It's not as horribly repetitive as some of the other books can be, if that makes sense. Like, you don't get bored of them as quickly. But those are the only ones from the actual tiny free libraries. So now, the large and charging library, we got a lot of books. Mm-hmm. I shook the whole table when I said that, sorry. But we got a lot of books. So we got this huge stack and this huge stack, and altogether that cost us $11.50, which I would consider a win. Most of these were Dan's picking up that he thought would be interesting, rather for reading for the sake of reading it or for referencing or lots of other things. So he'll probably be interjecting, telling different things about it. The first one that we grabbed was On Writing Well. This is actually a book we already have, but this is the 25th anniversary edition. So I don't know if there was maybe more new fun stuff or maybe just an extra preface or something in there that wasn't in the original. There was a whole section of biographies and different... It was all pretty well organized, but we found this novel written by Johnny Cash. We didn't know Johnny Cash wrote any novels, so it's called Man in White. So I thought that'd be pretty interesting to pick up and to just see what that's like. This book I was very excited to find. This is Sue Grafton's X, and it doesn't... Actually, it's not X is for anything, is it? Interesting. So Sue Grafton is a murder mystery author. She has written an entire series of books for a different book for every letter of the alphabet. And X was the only letter that she had published that I didn't have yet. So I had been, every time we go to thrift stores or anything, looking to see if I could find it, and I found it today. So that's very good. And now I have her entire collection except for Z, but she passed away before she finished writing Z, and to the best of my knowledge, the family has no plans of either releasing what she had written or hiring a ghostwriter to finish writing that novel. So as far as I know, the series will end forever with Y. And then Dan picked up a copy of The Pilgrim's Progress, but this one is in modern English. And we have a bookmark that has all the books of the Bible in it. That's fun.
I love freebies.
Ooh, and somebody highlighted in it, so we get to see what they think is important. Ooh, but for one to kill himself is to kill the body and soul at the same time.
Castle of Despair.
These next 3 books I picked out, they are all different gardening books. This one is Really Small Gardens, and from what I can gather, it's basically giving you lots of different ideas and information about plants that do well in very small spaces when you don't have a lot of room to work with. And this is more garden, meaning flowers and greenery, like shrubs and vining plants, and less gardens, meaning fruits and vegetables. So this one is more so for like an aesthetic looking garden and not a functional feed your family garden. But I still think there's going to be a lot of information I can glean out of this.
So we can look pretty or die.
Basically.
Hey.
Yeah.
Pretty and die.
Or not die.
Okay, never mind.
This next one is keeping the garden in bloom. And something I have been wanting to get better at is, one, keeping plants alive so they can bloom. And and also learning what plants blossom and bloom at what times of the year, so that we can have something in bloom and with flowers on them, or just full greenery in their glory throughout the year, rather than having our garden or any flower beds that we have everything pop up at once and then it's just dead the rest of the year and just green and there's no color or any like height difference or anything like that. So that's what I'm hoping to get out of this one. And the last one is creating a container garden. And when my mom was here visiting, she had actually picked up a book about container gardening, and I was wanting to actually go back and get that book for myself as well, or just borrow it from her, because it looked like it had a lot of really fun information about different plants and ways you can make a little area look really beautiful with just a container of really pretty plants. So finding this was a score, because not only was it 50 cents, it is a lot of really good information about container gardens. And then I think this is actually the last one that I picked up.
Probably.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it would appear that way.
Yeah. So this one I saw, and this is called Snoopy, Not Your Average Dog by Charles Schulz. And this is really fun because it's not just comics, but it has a lot of like really fun artistic pages in it. And also there's several pages in the front just full of like information and history of Snoopy as a character. So that I thought would be a really fun read as well. All the rest of these are Dan's, so I'm probably going to let you be the one explaining all of these.
I suppose I can do that.
So you start with that one.
Yeah. Well, these two actually, they go together in pairs. One is called Light and Film, and the other is The Camera. And they're fairly old publications, but I figure that they would be useful, particularly in just being able to understand the way camera technology has developed over the 20th century, and even actually into the 19th century, because I believe that's when it was invented. But there's a lot of things that I've always wanted to understand and always found fascinating about photography, especially not just the technology of cameras, but also in what ways, as the technology of the camera would develop, that how photography would actually grow into an art form. And so I figured that books like these would be a little bit enlightening on that subject.
Ooh,
so
it is definitely old. It is falling apart. Be very careful with it.
For sure. So well loved. Well, I don't know if I need to actually go through these methodically, because there's actually a lot of them. If anybody knows me well, when it comes to book sales, used book sales, thrift stores, I gravitate towards the classics, which I'm not as well read over the classics as I want to, because one of the things I've learned through one of my most influential authors, who's had an influence on my life, C.S. Lewis, once said that for every 2 new books that you read, you should always read one old one. And that is to to remember that there were times and places where people thought differently than you, and that that reading up on classic pieces of literature that would influence streams of thought throughout civilization. It's always a good thing to be reading up on those classics. So here you'll find things like Dante's Inferno and Albert Camus' The Plague, The Quest for the Holy Grail, collected works on Dostoevsky, Kierkegaard, Nietzsche, Kafka, Euripides, Plato, even more Plato. I guess I'm on a Plato hook. So yeah, and that's one of the primary reasons why I like to make sure that I have classics on hand, not just simply for reference, but also that if you want to learn or to develop your critical thinking, it's a good thing just to keep in the practice of just reading classic pieces of literature and not just reading works about them. In other words, you'll actually learn a lot more about John Calvin by reading the Institutes than, say some biographers who do that. I mean, biographers will reach some, but if you want to know the world of the thought of an author, you have to read their original material. So yeah, that's what we did there.
Yeah, that was our whole book haul. I hope you have enjoyed coming with us for all of this. Almost dropped his phone. Yeah. For all of these adventures, looking for more tiny free libraries. We discovered more in our town we did not know was here, that we did not know were here, and we were able to venture out to some other neighboring towns and find more, and I am very excited. I still have a pile of books in the living room that I need to disperse into tiny libraries, so there will most likely be a part 3 of this because I thoroughly enjoy doing this. So if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe so you don't miss when that 3rd installment comes out. And if you have read any of the books that we showed and have any thoughts or any suggestions of other books you think we might enjoy reading based on what we have shown, by all means leave them in the comments. We'd love to read them. We are constantly looking for new books to pick up. How quickly we will get to actually reading them is a different conversation entirely, but we are always on the look for new ones. So I hope you guys have had a great day, and we will see you in next week's video. Bye!